Patriots straight up because they're going to have great.
I don't think so.
There's a man named George, he's a legend you'll see. Trading cyber beasts and cars, a high-tech symphony. Porsches and McLarens, Ferraris so fly. Aston Martin's rolling like stars in the sky. He's got the deals, got the skills, making dreams come true. Flipping beasts and engines, he's the master, it's true. But when the deal gets tricky, there's one thing he'll say. Does it have cats or dogs today? George is riding high on the cyber beast trail.
Did everyone hear that music?
Yes, let's go. A little Texas two-step.
Wow. What an intro.
Yeah. Welcome, George Saliba, to our Friday Fraudcast our last broadcast before NADA. I met George at NADA last year, and he kind of got me familiar with his business. And so we've just talked a bit over the past year, and I was like, man, you've probably seen more of this live in action than I have, with MapSign. So, this is going to be a great call today, a great Fraudcast, and looking forward to learning from George. And hopefully the audience has the opportunity to ask George a few questions on like how he's experienced things and how he's handled things. I think to start off, George, I'd love to just hear just quick background, and then take me through how you got started working for your dad at JNS, and then what gave you the idea to really get started with selling off-site and selling online, because at the time there was a lot of people not really comfortable doing that.
So it's a long story, but I'll try to summarize it as quickly as possible. So I just was never interested in the car business because it was just so like paper and pen. That just wasn't exciting to me. Like I was always into technology and computers and, just learning about the future of tech or whatever growing up. And I worked outside the business in New York City for like 2 years. And then I worked for an automotive warranty company for 2.5 years, going dealership to dealership. And that's when I started getting into like closer to the business. Like I started seeing other car dealers and stuff like that. And I see how they'd operate, like just going and visiting. But there was a moment when I quit the job and went in because I had already started learning how to buy cars online. And I was having a lot of success with that. So as I'd be in my car, like driving around business to business, I'd be buying some Mercedes on MB On Demand. And then one day, we opened up another store, and like it wasn't doing so well. And I just kind of made the plunge and just left and came in. And I had already felt really comfortable with buying cars. So I felt like I was ready to provide gross for the business. Okay. And help it. So I kind of got started into leads. So long story short, I got started into leads. That was my thing. Like, okay, like you have cars.com, all these other websites, but how can I bring in like my own leads?
Yeah.
So I started figuring out ways to generate traffic outside of the typical third-party listing sites. And that's when I started to see there's a lot of scams and frauds out there when I started dipping into like other forms of advertising.
Yeah. A lot of bad actors out there.
Yeah. So as I started doing that, I started going like country to country, like whole nation, whole country, basically, buying cars from people, getting scammed, and experiencing all sorts of stuff. So that's the lead stuff, like try and get leads with paid ads and stuff like that. That kind of forced me into the whole like game and exposed me to the whole like world of danger, if you will.
Right. So now, where I saw an inflection point for you in your path was COVID, right? COVID hit, like kind of the playing field. It kind of got leveled for somebody like yourself because you at that point already had that muscle, right? To be able to kind of sell outside your four walls, they didn't have to come to the dealership. So you were already comfortable there because you have the scars. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was already when COVID happened, that's when I started buying Teslas and getting into that market. And when the Tesla stuff came in, that's when I started to sell my EV.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to buy people's cars from their driveways. And I'd gotten scammed, sent a wire to one guy, and that guy ended up opening up a bank account under someone else's name with one letter, like very hard to see. It was change. So there was some sort of crazy case going on with Navy, some credit union. It might have been Navy Fed. It was some credit union, and it was in California. And there was someone in the bank working inside, opening up accounts, whatever, for this guy or another guy. And when I sent that wire, we realized, the car was picked up. Like, the car had gotten picked up. So, like, we don't think anything of it. You know what I mean? We made a mistake early on of not FaceTiming the customer. That was our mistake.
Okay.
So now I can like literally feel a scam deal by just like looking at paperwork or something like that. But there's definitely red flags you can see now. But we were on such a run, you know what I mean? Like, we were just like buying so many cars and boom, boom, pick up, payment, pick up, payment, pick up. Like, we were just doing so well, off to like the races, and it was exciting and it was new, and we didn't think like it was possible for someone to go ahead and just like get scammed like that on a wire payment. Like, everything just seems so easy, especially when you pick up the car too. Especially when you pick up the car and you get the title. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So the owner of the car called us and said, that's not, that car was stolen from me. That's a scam. He actually saved us. He actually went to the bank and froze the account for us So we ended up getting our money back. I think we lost like $6,000, but we ended up getting our money back.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's
a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot of crazy stuff.
So George, like, so you've got a lot of these anecdotal evidence of, how people are committing scams. And it sounds to me from our conversations, you're pretty wise on most of the scams, right? So like, what would you say to a dealer, right? Like, yeah, I don't know what it would have to a dealer who's not going to do that. And, what would be just some advice you would give to dealers watching right now, or will be watching this afterwards, to get going and have some comfort that they might not have to, run through all the scars that you had to run through to get where you are. So I'm sure that's what's top of mind.
So now it's very simple now, but there's like other crazy stories that I've had that I'm just still never too sure under some certain circumstances. You know what I mean? Like I have another story, but it's kind of like crazy. And I bought the car like clear and everything like that. But just to get back right on track and give you like basic answer, like my response would be FaceTimes are crucial. Okay. I felt uncomfortable asking the customer to put his license next to his face. So we ask our customers when we buy their cars to have them put their license next to their face and send a selfie. Like, we always used to be like my buyers used to be afraid to ask. And I was like, you can't be afraid to ask this question like this. You have to ask them to do it. Like, you need this for verification. They want to verify us, right? Like, why can't you verify them? So FaceTimes are the number one thing. How they FaceTime you, like, just like paying attention to like the littlest things. If the car is in a parking garage and they send you pictures of the car with the doors closed, or the phone up to the glass, like right away, that's not their car they're trying to sell you. Where the car is located is a big one. You just kind of have to read the pictures that you receive, and just kind of tell like what's going on beyond the picture.
Right. What would be your advice to a dealer who, if they've got a deal, let's say one got past them and the car's already, where we hear, at MapSign, where we hear about the fraud is typically it is an offsite, and the dealer a lot of times is already shipped the car because they want to like get their paperwork back and all these things. Like, what's the chain of custody of, deposit, verification, paperwork? Like, when do they get the car versus when do they have to do all the other things that you need to get money in the bank? Especially the finance.
If we're selling a car, we still run like a bit of a verification on the customer, but ideally we do wait for funding. In some circumstances, we'll wait for funding, but there's been other circumstances where we've gone scammed and bank funded and refund and like defunded. But waiting for funding is number one, but also just being upfront and FaceTiming customers helps a lot. Right now we have such a good process where if people ghost us in the middle of a deal, it's because they tried to scam us or something.
Yeah, we see the same thing. We track our dropped orders at MAV, and we can see like we might see that same customer profile pops up at a different dealer. We're like, all right, they're trying it somewhere else. So they don't know what dealers use MAV and which ones don't. One of the things you and I were talking about a couple of weeks ago, George, that I think we all just assume that we're all good at spotting a fraud. As a matter of fact, we're having a spot the fraud contest at NADA next Wednesday, 11 o'clock. Shameless plug. But
nice.
Yeah, you should come. I got Russ Flips Whips. He's going to be my maestro on it, and he thinks he can spot it. I don't know. I have a feel. I'd put my money on you, honestly.
I would. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so we've got that coming Wednesday at 11 at NADA, so we'll check that out. But I hear back from a lot of dealers like, I don't need to do verification. I know how to sell cars. Like, I got this. And a lot of the times it's more of like, because they probably do. Like, they've been selling cars the longest. They've had the experience. They've had to go take a car back, right? Once you've been through that, you get a lot better at preventing it from happening again. But I think the missing point that you've made to me was, yeah, that's great. It's you, but you don't have you in every sales and every sales department and every sales seat. And like, how do you so
also there's deals where you're just never too sure. Like, there's deals where you're just like, this seems good, but let's say a guy wants to put $5,000 down out of state on like a $60,000-$70,000 car. Typically we wouldn't do that deal. But then, like, especially if he's from California, like buying a car like that's just like an average Dodge Charger or something like that he could pick up across any single dealership from New Jersey to California. Like, why are you calling ours? Ours isn't even that cheap. But there's certain circumstances, especially with having a social media following, where you're like, no, this guy's definitely good, but you're just still not too sure. But you're right. Like, there isn't one of me in every single desk. And, you can never be too sure. And typically out of state, we try to require 20% down of the vehicle's purchase price. So we'll require 20% down. If it's never 20% down, it's a red flag right away. But you can't really red flag it like that all the time. So, because some people don't want to no one has to put that much money down. But that's what I'm trying to tell you is, why are they calling us to buy this car when it's not even that special or rare of a car, and they can purchase it from any other 40 state across the country? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make so there's an instance where like MavSign comes in and it's just like, boom, like, just MavSign the guy if you want to. I FaceTime the guy, everything's good. But you know what? You can never be too sure, because even though a scammer might even let you see their face, their house, or whatever, they might still fraud you or scam you at the end.
Right. Yeah. I think the point you're making is you've got a lot of knowledge, and then at the same time, if you've got a salesperson who's got a severe commission bias, they're not the dealer. They want to get paid. That's how they make their livelihood. How are they gonna rationalize all those things that you just brought up in the moment, right?
It's hard. It's a hard training. It's a hard training. And like, if you told someone 20% down and they say, I only have like $3,000 to put down, then it's probably just like a little shaky. But if they say I could put down 10, then you can work with them a little bit. But it's just like the working with them a little bit is the hard part of the business, where you can't do all the time. Right. Like you need to have some sort of process or tech to like help you out in that instance or service.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, I just wanted to call on we're getting a couple of comments. I was just going to ask you about there is a big theft problem with transport, right? Like where dealers are selling cars, transport shows up, somebody gives them the keys, and then the real transport shows up, right? Is that are you seeing some of that? Or
transport? Yeah, I see. The car theft problem on transports, not direct sales. So you're right, because transport is just like a different. That's a very hard game right there. We get licenses we get the copy of a license and everything before pickup and not pickup. But then there's hacking going on in transport systems. There's a bunch of things going on there. I mean, we had a BMW M3 stolen. We still haven't gotten it back yet, but we know where it is. But it was because a broker double brokered a deal and got the car gone. But it's tough being in the transport business. It's even tougher.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like there's a super dispatch and a central dispatch, and it sounds like it's not that hard to get a shipper number so that you can transport cars. So interesting. Well, hey, so I got a different tangent to take you on, George. So what do you? I mean, are y'all running into any fraud at the dealership? People coming on site? What are the different ways they're trying to steal cars? At like showing up in person, because that's also a thing. I mean, it's easier to do remote, I think, because they never see your face. But what are you seeing in the dealership?
We don't really see too much in the dealership that's crazy. We've had some crazy situations happen in the past when this started, because when scam and fraud really started coming up. I think it was like 6-7 years ago when it started getting really intense with finance deals and stuff. But people coming in, there's only been like one circumstance where someone had tried to steal someone else's identity.
Okay.
But we haven't had too many in person, but we've had. I could remember one where people are doing identity fraud, committing identity fraud, and just ripping people's socials.
One observation I would give, and it goes back to kind of that salesman mentality, is most people don't realize on the deal jackets, typically your accounting office gives you a checklist. It's a check. You gotta have this, and this, right? Before you send it to accounting. I had this when I was in retail, and it never said, Rudy, you need to visually verify that the driver's license you just made a copy of actually matches the person you're looking at. It just says copy of DL, right? And it's, I hear plenty of stories from dealers who are like, well, I got a copy of their driver's license. I'm like, did you look at it? And so it's just one of those, like, that's where we're doing our spot the fraud. I mean, you'll see a lot where we've captured ones that they showed up straight up at a dealership and, none the wiser, right? So still can happen. So it's not, the other observation I would give, George, about your dealership, because I follow you on social media, is y'all have videographers a lot of places. So if somebody was a crook, odds are you probably got them on video.
Yes.
And then I also want to give a call out to your videographer. He's kind of swole, so I would not steal a car from you just based off of that fact.
100%.
Self-preservation. So I guess talk to me about, what do you see coming in the market, and maybe fraud is part of this, but the big reason we see a lot of dealers not wanting to sell cars offsite is they're worried about fraud, right? We're seeing it all in the comments, like people are scammers, this and that. However, the big disruptors in auto are doubling down on selling anywhere to anybody, right? So you got Amazon Autos, wolf in sheep's clothes. Don't care what anybody says there. You know what they're doing. You got Carvana. CarMax is kind of going to probably go get their act together now. They've got some humble pie. And then you've got all the big retailers. They kind of see it, right? I mean, you see them buying pods in all different states so they can execute. So, like, what would you tell dealers watching, listening right now about, kind of how they need to change the way of thinking? Because, honestly, I still think there's a large majority of dealers that are not comfortable selling that way.
I'm waiting for like the next AI fraud, like the first AI fraud. I'm waiting to come across that. Just a customer sending us like a fake video of a car or something like that. Fake walk around video of a car in AI. Like I'm kind of waiting for that to happen.
Okay.
But that's when it really just comes down to like getting on the phone with the customer. Like I train my buyers and most of my salespeople at the store. Like you got to know who you're buying and selling a car to. Like you can't just, even if the customer tries to make it super easy for you, hey, I want to buy this car. Here's my license. I'm missing the wire, whatever. Like even if they try to make it super simple, super easy. There was just recently a scam with like some crypto stuff into a trust wallet where they send you like a deposit for something like that. And they hopes for them to come by or take the vehicle or something, and then the money just appears. It's like called like phantom funds.
Yeah.
So that's something that is new, I think, in the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, just like FaceTiming and noticing how you receive the documents and how you're receiving the texts and calls and like angles of how they're holding the phone or like whatever. Like if something just seems off, you have to unfortunately have an intuition for it. But like you said, like not everyone's going to have like an intuition in the store all the time. But yeah, that's the hardest. It's the hardest thing.
Well, yeah. So it sounds like you've got it figured out that you've got to really know who they are before you sell them a car. We're big on a last mile in-person verification. It's interesting you brought up AI. We actually catch a fair amount of AI fraud. I don't know if this is going to scare everybody, but for the most part, like I don't know, George, have you seen the AI videos that were done of you? I mean, they're getting pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, someone can AI a picture of them holding a picture of their license next to their face.
Yeah.
Very simply, very easily.
So I would say, the challenge with AI is, probably by the end of this year, most people predict that you won't know the difference, just over Zoom or this. So I think that's one of the things that we're all missing is even if you go to technology and you are FaceTiming, there still has to almost be more, right, than even that because of what they're capable of. So I see a comment says AI can easily bypass KYC. Oh, so he says my service is worthless. So whoever expert is, I think we need to talk because we actually do have a physical person at the very end validate every deal. So that's
you guys have physical people. That's the best. That's the really the main reason why I would MAV sign a deal. Is because I know there's going to be a physical person who has experience and they know what they're looking out for and all this stuff. So if I were to go ahead and sell this guy a car who wants a Dodge Charger with 5K, with like say 2 or 3K down in California, it would be just like I would maybe try a little bit here and there to make sure it wasn't like a bad deal or anything like that. But at the end, if my gut was like, okay, he's good, I'd probably just MAV sign that deal for protection.
Yeah. And most dealers like yourself, I mean, typically you're passing on the fee of the transport and, passing on the fee for MAVing it. So, if the consumer's willing to pay it, then that's obviously an additional validation. that they really do want the car. So, well, hey, I got about 5 more minutes for George, and I want to give everybody, because George has got to go do some more selling before the end of the month. We got to hit the number this month. But I want to give the audience a chance to ask any questions now. I see a lot of people asking if he'll buy their car. I'm sure George will follow up with you in due time. But if you have any questions for George about fraud and what he does to fight fraud, or some experiences he's had with fraud, love to hear those from the audience now. George is negotiating. I feel like
I'm negotiating right now. So someone said they have a GT3 RS in British Racing Green. So
yep. I feel like I should get a commission on this. This is awesome. Anyways, I don't know if I've ever sold. I think the most expensive car I ever sold, George, was a Viper, like in 2002. But it was, I think it was barely 100K, and probably not even that much. So that's amazing that cars go for that much, and that dealers will put themselves out there like that without the right verification. So
yeah, I had a guy I was buying a Viper from in Texas, and he told me it was a deal, right? And then I gave him 5K more to close the deal for good, because he kept getting higher offers.
Right.
And then as we start doing the verification process, he bounces out, and I call him back. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I worked so hard in this deal. Like, you seem like a real person. You seem like you actually own this car, and you seem like you actually have the title for this car, and you seem like this is your car. And he's like, it is my car, but the cartel had to like take it for 3 days, and I can't get it back. And I'm like,
wow.
All right, so now you're telling me the cartel is involved in this deal? And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, let's just cut off the deal. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think we need to add that. Somebody at MapSign, please add that to our algorithm. If they're related to drug dealers, we should not sell them. Well, that's cool. So it looks like any other questions for George? Because I do have something special to offer George. He does not know this yet. But George, you've been asking me for a special deal, given that you are an official MapSign spokesperson for your dealership to help stop fraud. So I actually did bring an order form, and it is for our Mav Elite subscription, and that is our Mac Daddy cheapest possible price on all of our secure offsite closings that include a fraud guarantee. And I have it for you. I'm waiving all the activation fees, and I am going to waive your first month subscription fee to get this rolling and save you some money. So, and somebody said give it to you for 3 years free. Awesome. That guy is not on my board.
That's good. I got negotiating for me right now.
Yeah, it's a negotiator here. Yeah, no, this has cats on it. So
that's all. Thank you so much.
Send this over to you. Yeah. So hey, I was wondering. I'm looking for some audience opinion here. So I got to do an NADA promotion next week. Every year we do an NADA promotion. So I was wondering, like, just from the audience perspective, I was going to bring this to NADA and see any dealers that show up to our Spot the Fraud session or show up to our booth. What do you think about offering this deal to any dealers at NADA that show up next week?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
I mean, it sounds like if I get fired, I can help you sell some cars online. So, I
don't think that'll happen. I don't think that'll happen, but that sounds like a great idea, though.
All right, so special announcement as we close out this car. If you're a dealer watching and you come to the MavSign booth next week, we are offering 1 month free on any of our Mav subscriptions. If you show up at the booth at NADA, we've got a 11 a.m. Spot the Fraud on Wednesday. We also, for special people, we have a final party Wednesday night. And the booth's going to be pretty hopping with lots of fun. If you think you can outsmart the MAP team with some scams, we'd love to see it. So bring your fake IDs and all that stuff. So
I would like to give that a shot. I'll see you there. I'll be roaming around at the booth too. I'll check out that game for sure. That sounds like an exciting time.
That's good stuff. Well, listen, folks, I want to thank everybody for attending. We got some great viewers, a lot of engagement. I have never seen 6-7 used in a Fraudcast before, so my kids will be happy to see that. And then look, we do a Fraudcast. I know I still haven't learned what that means yet, but we do a Fraudcast every couple of weeks. So if you've never seen a Fraudcast before, every 2 weeks, we're trying to get on people who have dealt with fraud and are living it in real life, not just people trying to peddle a product, right? Like we understand we can get blinders on and we get our own kind of commission bias, right? So I want to get the people who really know about fraud and are dealing with it every day. So if this is your first time watching the Fraudcast, please tune in. Our next Fraudcast is February 13th, same time, LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live. I've got a special guest, Heidi McMillan from Automoto. They are a leading credit application software provider in the independent auto space. So that'll be a really interesting view on how they see fraud, and we've got a great new partnership with them as well. So tune in 2 weeks. Follow us on LinkedIn Live and on YouTube to get more updates. We also, George, you've seen our fraudicles, our weekly fraud articles that come out. That have all the latest stories on the different gags. Please follow along to those too. And if all else fails, you go see us at mapsign.com. Hopefully, we'll see everybody at NADA for some special deals and see if you can spot the fraud. I'll let everybody get back to their day. Y'all have a great weekend, end of month closeout. Fight the fraudsters and go be a maverick. George, be a maverick.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for the promotion. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, team. I'll let y'all go.
See you guys. Bye.